Welcome to the Vol Bros. My name is Evan. This is my brother Rustin. We are two Vol Bros who are actually bros in real life. And we are very fortunate today to be joined by a very special guest. Many of you have, I'm sure, have followed SEC Unfiltered on Twitter, or X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. And we very much appreciate Mr. Chris Phillips joining us today. Chris, thank you so much for being here and taking the time to join us. We really appreciate you. And everybody be sure to go check out secunfiltered.com. That's where you can find Chris. But Chris, thank you so much for joining us today, buddy.
Yeah, Evan, Rustin, I appreciate it, guys. Really a pleasure and excited to talk about what happened over the weekend. Obviously, what took place in Knoxville. Obviously, we were there. Shameless plug. We'll have the vlog dropping later this week, kind of detailing the entire trip from when we got there on Thursday to culminating in game day and everything that took place. And really excited for that project to be released on Wednesday night. But it's always a good time talking Rocky Top, talking Vols, and I know we'll dive into this one. But it was peak Tennessee heartbreak on Saturday afternoon, and yeah, again, I appreciate you guys having me on.
So you were, as you said, you were there for several days. Kind of unpack, what was the atmosphere like? What was the experience like? What really stood out to you inside Neyland during the game?
Yeah, I'll say this, Rustin. Rocky Top's always one of my favorite visits, always one of my favorite places to go. And I would say primarily it's for the people, number one. The passion, the energy, it's unmatched. It's unparalleled across the conference, truly. I love the city. I mentioned on Friday night that I think it's one of the most underrated cities in the SEC. And when I say that, some people took that as maybe like it's a slight or why is it underrated? Why is it not rated number one? I think a lot of people there's some that haven't been or they just don't know about the city as a whole. We went to Old City, we went to Market Square, we went to the Strip, we went to campus, obviously all around. There's a lot to Knoxville that it's so much more than just the University of Tennessee. So as far as the energy leading into the game, guys, I've said this before and I'll say it again. There are few feelings better than being in an SEC town or a big-time college town the Friday night before a big football game. And it had that feeling. It had that energy. The energy, though, was kind of interesting because I think you guys probably can attest, both fan bases coming in this football game were really uneasy. I don't think either really knew 100% what to expect or what they were going to get. And then obviously that led us into game day, and it was everything I expected and more. Guys, this was my second ever experience at Neyland Stadium for a game. I got off to a pretty hot start last year when I was at the Tennessee-Alabama game, and, of course, Tennessee wins that game. And, I mean, that set a pretty high bar, right? But, yeah, the energy and the electricity outside of the stadium at the tailgates, throughout campus was as good as anywhere I've ever been. The in-game atmosphere, I'll say this, because I did not get to experience this last year, was the checkering of Neyland. That is, in my opinion, right up there with when people say you got to go to a night game at Death Valley. Like, I will now be referring to as you've got to go to a game at Neyland Stadium when they checker it out, because it did hit different. It really did. The energy was the same. The intensity was the same. The volume level. I mean, guys, that place, I've never been in a stadium that's so loud continuously throughout the game. Like, it never goes quiet in that stadium per se. Just from start to finish, it's just at this electric volume. And obviously there were some moments where it hit a peak. The strip sack fumble of Gunnar Stockton that Tennessee recovered was maybe the loudest I've ever heard a college football stadium in my entire life. Like, it's just one of those venues, guys, that I know everybody tuned in obviously is a Vol and has been. But if for whatever reason you're a college football fan tuning in, you have it, it has to be on your bucket list. So it was an A+++ environment. Tennessee fans brought it. Neyland is one of the most iconic venues in not just all of college football, in my opinion, but all of college sports. And again, all of that delivered, and the game delivered. I mean, the game was a classic.
It did.
Obviously, we'll get into it. It didn't turn out the way of the Vols, but I mean, it was an instant classic. It was one you'll never forget. I'm grateful that I was there in person. And like I said, I can't stress it enough. Checker Neyland. You got to get there when they checker Neyland because it just hits different.
Rustin and I were actually at the very first Checker Neyland game. It was in 2014. Here's something that you may not know about Checker Neyland. It's pretty cool. It was started by a fan who lives in Cleveland, Tennessee. We're out of Chattanooga. Cleveland's like 20 minutes, closer to Knoxville from Chattanooga than us. His name's Spencer Barnett. He is the one who mapped out the stadium organized the entire thing on Twitter at the time. And then the university got on board with him, and they kind of took it over the next year. But the very first checker kneeling game was in 2014 against Florida. Rustin and I were there. We lost 10-9. It was a horrible football game. But fun fact about this, that's a fan-initiated thing, man. Vol Nation's different, I'm telling you. It's something
That's
else.
awesome. He should have season tickets for life. I hope he does.
Something.
You're
right.
Got to give him something.
Amen.
Bare minimum season tickets to every checker game for life.
At least that,
fair.
Right?
More than fair.
Well, since you were there, I'd like you to tell me, if you had to pick a player of the game, who that would be. And if by some chance it's not a Tennessee player, I'd like for you to pick a Tennessee player too that you think was most valuable player on wearing orange yesterday.
An overall player of the game. Rarely does the player of the game not come from the winning team.
Exactly. Which is why I had to add in the addendum.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. But there's a part of me that does. I'm going to go both just because I want to recognize both sides here. Overall player of the game, I think it'd be hard not to give it to Gunnar Stockton.
Agreed.
The amount of big-time throws he made, staring down the barrel of adversity, and that place was ready to explode and celebrate the W. There were so many big third downs, some third and longs that you thought, okay, this is the moment. Tennessee's going to clinch. The game is over. They've won this thing. They've snapped the streak. And like I said, he just stared down the barrel of it in his first big-time start in a big-time environment and looked unfazed. He wasn't perfect, but he looked unfazed. I mean, the statistics reflect that: over 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Obviously, the big one, guys, down there on the 4th down. Guys, that might be the best throw I've ever seen, at least in person. I mean, that just in the situation. Great catch too. Great throw and catch. That play with that situation, everything on the line to deliver in that way was just flat out incredible. I mean, it was jaw dropping. On the Tennessee side, though, my player of the game, I think it's really easy to give it to Joey Aguilar, but I'm going to give it to Chris Brazzell, the wide receiver. 6 catches for 177 and 3 receiving touchdowns, because here's the reality, guys. Joey Aguilar throws 4 touchdowns. Brazzell has 3 of them. He doesn't have a couple of them if Brazzell doesn't make a great catch down the field.
Absolutely.
And run after the catch and go into the end zone, right? And give credit to Joey Aguilar putting the ball in a spot where it's a 50-50 ball. His guy can go up and get it. But Chris Brazzell had to make those plays. I thought that was his coming out party. I really did.
Agreed.
Brazzell was phenomenal. Again, if you want to give it to Joey, I won't fight you over it. We're kind of splitting hairs, but Chris Brazzell to me was the star of it, man. He was really the guy that sparked that ball game for the Tennessee offense. Like I said, some of those balls, and it's peak Joey Aguilar. He's going to throw it up downfield and give his guy a shot. And Brazzell just outdueled probably some of the best defensive backs you'll see this season and made a big play. So, I go Brazzell on the Tennessee side and Gunnar Stockton on the Georgia side as far as player of the games go. But, guys, in a game like that, there's so many guys you could elect because so many players, especially on both offenses, had massive games.
Well, and to your point about staring down the barrel, literally, in the late in the 4th quarter, Dominic Bailey for Tennessee just manhandled the right guard, just bull rushed him, threw him out of the way, and just blew up Gunnar Stockton. And to his credit, it was 3rd down. To his credit, Stockton literally staring at Dominic Bailey, facing him, threw the ball right over him for a critical conversion on 3rd down, and just he took the penalty for it. And I mean, he got blown up. But to his credit, like you said, he had the guts to stand in there and take the hit and delivered and executed for his team. So I agree with you. It's hard not to give it to him.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing he's got his guts. I think both sides were very curious about their quarterback position coming in. I think both got answers they liked. No matter who would have won or lost that game, I think both sides have got to feel pretty good, especially Georgia, because I think we saw with Tennessee, Joey Aguilar in that season opener, the promise. But, to do it against the Dogs defense, to do it against a defense that Tennessee hadn't scored more than 17 points against Kirby Smart's entire tenure, I thought that was huge. Joey Aguilar first half, guys, I thought was going to have the game of the century for college football quarterbacks. I mean, he couldn't miss early on, and then things
literally
kind of
14 to 14.
give him a lot of credit late in the game for getting it back going. But I mean, Gunnar Stockton he showed a lot. I think he showed a lot to me, showed a lot to everybody in that stadium, certainly everybody watching. It was a pretty special performance.
So, from your perspective, kind of the same question, different venue. What was your play of the game?
I mean, it has to be that Gunnar Stockton gosh, why am I blanking on his name? The Gunnar Stockton to
fourth down
London
conversion.
Humphreys, the Humphreys touchdown. I mean, it has to be. It has to be.
I agree.
Fourth down, games on the line. Again, you make the throw of your life. It might be the throw of his career. A great catch in the corner of the end zone. I mean, what's wild, Georgia's still got to go get the 2-point conversion, and they do it, but they don't even have a chance. I mean, I think what, hurts if you're a Vol is what I'm about to say is true. If you get that stop, the game's over.
100%.
Georgia ain't coming back if you get that stop. And so for the fact that they had to go all the way down the field, they had not just get a touchdown, but get the 2, but to set them up with that has to be the play of the game. I don't know how it isn't. Like, when I think of that game as all the great highlights and plays that were made, that is the play that will stand out to me. It will stand the test of time. I think that game will be known as the Stockton to Humphreys over the shoulder catch. I think that's what that game will be known for.
Yeah, I mean, they had 3 opportunities to win the game. Stop them on fourth down, stop them on the 2-point conversion, or make a field goal. Had 3 opportunities.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it was – and Kirby even said it in postgame, guys. He said he felt like Tennessee deserved to win. I mean, I was just actually thinking about it before we jumped live on air here, that you're almost just sitting there like, how did Tennessee lose that football game? I mean –
Welcome to Vol Nation, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, they were
We've said that many times over the last 15 years.
I mean, I mean, that game – and I've got a lot of, obviously I'm a Nashville native for those that don't know, but I mean, I've got a lot of Tennessee buddies here, and they all kind of are echoing the same sentiment. It's just peak Tennessee heartbreak. It's just it's the peak of what Tennessee heartbreak has been. Guys, it's interesting. Humor me for a minute. I was kind of thinking about this today. Georgia has essentially slid into the Alabama role that we grew accustomed to know them under Nick Saban. They're the new Bama, essentially. They weren't kind of already. Tennessee at this point, and we got to see how the rest of the season plays out, and maybe we need a bigger sample size before I say this, with a lot of conviction behind it. They feel like the new version of what Georgia was under Mark Richt.
Yep.
They just kind of like, and I don't know, I could be totally wrong.
Fair.
Or maybe Heupel's the guy to get them to like that 10-win-ish plateau. Maybe they do make it to Atlanta at some point, but like, they're just – it's never going to be quite like 98 was but that's the scary thing. Is like, if you try to go chase your Kirby Smart, you might miss on the next guy. Like, Georgia got very lucky. Let's call it for what it is, right? Like, you do get lucky but it's like – and that's not a bad spot to be in. I mean, I think Tennessee's going to be in that same position again this season, flirting with 9 or 10 wins, flirting with the college football playoff, which, I mean, God, if you make the playoff again, I think that'd be a massive success of a season. But we all know, guys, the expectations and the hunger for winning and the hunger to get back to the top of the mountain, it is such at a fierce level in Knoxville. It kind of feels like Tennessee is sort of sliding into that role, where they're always knocking on the door. They're always the bridesmaid, but never the bride. And obviously, again, things are a lot different now than – I mean, heck, Mark Richt might still be at Georgia if we had the playoff, right? Like, especially 12 team. They'd have been in it every year with Mark Richt. I don't know if they ever would have got rid of him. So a little bit of a different dynamic, but man, again, just looking back at that game specifically, I mean, you can look at the missed field goal, and that game, so much happened in that game. It feels unfair to pin it on one play. Like, it's very easy to say the kid should have made the field goal. And listen, the kid should have made the field goal, but there were numerous chances prior to that.
Yes.
That you could not capitalize on, to a point where, guys, you could probably agree it shouldn't have come down to a field goal. Should have come down to that. And, lo and behold, here we are.
Well, and even
Tennessee, go ahead.
Even on that field goal, I don't know. I'm not a kicker, never have been, but I can imagine that going from 37 to 42 yards, just having the number start with a 3 instead of a 4. That's got to be mentally, a positive thing. And so the fact that that happened, I'm sure that was already. Listen, they kept showing him on TV on the sideline.
Yeah.
And I texted Rustin about a minute and a half before he kicked the ball, and I said, I do not like the way Max is breathing on the sideline. I mean, he was struggling.
I
didn't
laughed
like
because
anything. I didn't like his body lean. I didn't like his eyes. I didn't like anything about it. He looked scared to death on the sidelines.
Yeah, I got to admit, guys, I have not seen the TV copy yet because obviously I was in there. But all of my Tennessee buddies, I laugh because they've all said the same exact thing, that the kid looked like he would have rather been anywhere else than kicking that field goal at Neyland Stadium.
And so, ABC kept putting the camera on him, so everybody saw it. Like his facial expressions and like you could see in his eyes every thought he was having. I mean, it wasn't good. There was no positive thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and I agree with you. Again, even coming down to the little things, doing the little things right, getting that false start, and yeah, man. I mean, listen, kickers are mental. It's kind of like being a golfer, right? You take that pitching wedge out of the hand and put a 9-iron in there. It changes the shot a little bit. So it's
absolutely.
It's unfortunate he missed the kick, and obviously it wasn't even close. What's crazy, guys, on a funny side note, and if you watch the vlog, you'll see this, and I felt really silly after the fact, but because I was in that end zone that he kicked, I wasn't like directly behind the goalpost. I was in QQ for those that know Neyland Stadium. So I was like in the corner, but in that corner where that goalpost
South end zone. Yep.
Yeah, so I was in that end zone, and so I've got a side view. So he hits the kick, and like half of that section, I think, thought he made it. So I thought he made it. So I'm like going crazy for about 5 seconds, and I'm like, oh, he didn't make that.
Yeah.
So that was quite
plenty of distance.
Emotions. Yeah.
Plenty of distance, just wide right.
Just super, super right.
So Chris, you mentioned you just reminded me that I didn't say something at the beginning that I should have. You mentioned a 9-iron and a sand wedge. So we are presented by the Ooltewah Club. We are the Vol Bros presented by the Ooltewah Club, and so we appreciate them and their support of us and the Believe Entertainment Network as well. So I got one more question for you. I said on our preview show when we were previewing the Georgia game, I said, hopefully when this game's over, we're talking about each team as though, wow, both of those teams are going to be in the college football playoff. And I think, honestly, that might have ended up being the case here. I don't know. But after that game and understanding that Tennessee's two best cornerbacks were not playing, which who knows what could have happened if they had been out there just to give Colton Hood and Ty Redmond a breather every once in a while. As you look forward the rest of this season, what do you see on the horizon for Georgia? What do you see on the horizon for Tennessee? How do you think both of their seasons are going to end up shaping up?
Well, I want to start on the Tennessee side, guys, because obviously, again, we're here to talk Vols. As difficult as it is, and they say time heals all wounds, right? And this one's going to take a while. I mean, I got some Vol buddies that have told me this is the most heartbreaking loss of their entire life, which says a lot.
That's saying a lot, yeah.
That's a lot when you think about all the games that Tennessee has fallen short in. But certainly heartbreaker. It felt like in this game, I wanted to say this too. This game felt like Kirby Smart ripped Tennessee's heart out of his chest and showed it to him and laughed, and he put it back in to let him know.
And he kind of did in the post-game press conference, actually.
That's what it felt like, you know what I mean, before he delivered the dagger.
Yeah.
But if, give yourself the 24-hour rule, the 48-hour, obviously as a fan, the team I'm sure has already moved on. As a fan, though, like, you look at this game, and there's a lot of positives to take away. And it starts under center. I mean, Joey Aguilar is a dude. Like, he's not perfect. There's probably going to be moments this season where he frustrates you a little bit with maybe a turnover or two because, hey, like, you live by the sword, die by the sword. Probably some of those deep balls you throw, there's probably going to be some weeks where it gets picked off. Like, it's just inevitably going to happen. But I think what you saw yesterday was a guy, again, he went out and carved up a Kirby Smart defense. Like, this guy, he's a dog, right? Like, I mean, I really do believe that he can lead Tennessee where they want to go. They're so much more explosive on offense, not even remotely comparable than they were a season ago. again, Chris Brazzell emerged as a real wide receiver one, and I still like some of the other guys like Mike Matthews and some of the other pieces they've got on the outside. I think they're solid at running back. I think they're solid on the offensive line. I like Miles Kitselman a ton at tight end. And then I think defensively, listen, you're right. Once they get healthy, especially, but I think yesterday's game too, I'm not overreacting to like Tennessee's defense is just terrible, because the flow of that game was it was a shootout. Like that game was just from the jump. It was like, okay, it's one of those days where it feels like team with the ball last who wins this football game. So I say all that to say, guys, again, I think there's a lot of positives to take away. And here's the thing. I admittedly was not high on Joey Aguilar over the summer. I mean, I'll be apologizing till I'm blue in the face this week, because Joey Aguilar has proved me wrong already. He's a legitimate dude, right?
Yep.
Even with that being said, I thought Tennessee was an 8-win team. Well, now that you have the right guy under center and you got some playmakers around him, I always thought the defense was going to be the strength of the football team. Guys, you get healthy there. I mean, I think we're realistically talking about a Tennessee team right on the verge, 9-3, 10-2, flirting for that college football playoff spot. I really do. Because, I mean, you look down the schedule, guys. Here's the big question. Can Josh Heupel avoid the what has become kind of his trademark road loss that kind of derails things? That's where the real struggle has become, right? Like, losing to Georgia at home, as painful as it is forgivable. It's a forgivable sin.
Agreed.
But you can't trip up at Mississippi State. You
Agreed.
can't trip up at Kentucky. Heck, I could argue you can't trip up at Florida. Billy Napier might not even be the head coach at that point. Florida does not look good, right? I didn't mention at Alabama, because that's another one that, and we'll see what Bama is. It's a winnable football game, but it's another one of those that, like, if Bama, they keep building off of what they've been doing and they turn into what I think they could be, which is, an SEC title contender, there won't be shame in losing that one.
Right.
And then you look at the rest, guys. I mean, you're going to be favored in essentially every other game. You got Oklahoma on your home field. That one could be awesome. And then Vandy coming to your place at home. Vandy, all of a sudden, top 25 team, looks really good. But I say all that to say, again, I think there's a path to the playoff. I really, really do. And I think at this point, anything less than 9-3 would feel really, really disappointing. Because, I mean, I even mentioned, at Bama's winnable. I mean, where's the other loss? I mean, you could argue, at Florida, just because you haven't won at the Swamp in over 20 years. But, that one you feel like right now, and so much can change. But, yeah, I think Tennessee's right there on the verge of a playoff. I really, really do. As far as Georgia, guys, it's Georgia. I felt really good about them coming in the season. I think they're going to be continuing to go to Atlanta. I think they're nearly a playoff lock at this point. I felt like that coming into the season, too. I loved the over 9.5 on the win total betting on them. Guys, I'm oversimplifying, but football is a lot simpler than a lot of us like to make it. It's why I picked Georgia to win this football game in Knoxville. Kirby Smart. And until you prove me differently and somebody takes the throne away from them, you have to give them a little bit of credit and the respect they deserve, right?
Yeah.
So they got a big one coming up in a few weeks against Alabama at home. They got their own monkey to get off their back. Can they do it? We'll see. But even if they lost to Bama, guys, there's just no way I see Georgia going any worse than 10-2. And do they make it to the SEC championship? And I know this is something that you guys wanted to talk about. Maybe, but that's not even the end-all, be-all anymore. Like, you could argue not playing in Atlanta is more beneficial to your college football playoff and national title aspirations, and you get a home playoff game. But obviously with Georgia, winning the SEC championship is a big deal to Kirby Smart. It's a big deal to that fan base. They really, take pride in winning the SEC title. So they'll obviously want to get back. But, yeah, I think Georgia I'd call a playoff lock. I think Tennessee, playoff hopeful, right on the verge. But there's a lot to be encouraged by, really, for both sides, because Gunnar Stockton looks like him too, right? That was their biggest question coming in the season. But from the Tennessee perspective, you've got your quarterback. I think you've got a defense that once you get healthy, you feel really good about. And, guys, you've got a schedule that's conducive to making a run to the CFP.
Yep. I've been saying for 2 years, I don't want to go to the SEC championship. I want nothing to do with that game. I think it's detrimental. I think whoever loses that game always gets shafted by the committee. And I am happy as a lark. If they announce tomorrow that they were abolishing that game forever, I would be fully in favor of that.
All right, so Chris, I'm going to run a real quick hypothetical by you. Let's say that Georgia, let's say they run the table. Let's say they go 12-0. And Texas, LSU, and Tennessee all finish with one loss in the conference. So Tennessee's loss was Georgia, or some. There's a 2 or 3 way tie for second. In that situation, if you're a Tennessee and you have one loss, do you want to play in the SEC championship game, or do you want to let somebody else be the tiebreaker and play in the SEC championship game, and then you're sitting there with one loss waiting on the playoff committee to tell you where you're going?
Well, after what Rustin just said, I feel like we're having a debate now, because here's the thing: if you have an opportunity to go to Atlanta and play in the SEC title, I think you go. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool to play in it. I mean, I think it's the opportunity to win a championship of any kind is it's an honor, it's a privilege, it's something that doesn't happen a lot. I mean, you guys could tell me. I'm not asking to be. When was the last time Tennessee was in the SEC title game? What was it, like 04?
2007.
Okay, 07. So it's been a while.
Been a minute. Yeah.
I went to it last year, and it was my first ever SEC championship game. It's a really, really cool event. I mean, I know it doesn't mean as much, and some will argue it means nothing, but I know for those players it wouldn't mean nothing. Having the opportunity to go win an SEC title, that's still a big deal to those guys. Now, again, I don't disagree with Rustin from the standpoint of the way it impacts you, from a standpoint of the way the committee looks at you and the matchups, and there's a lot to argue there. I mean, I think ideally, because you can't really plan it, right? Like, you kind of just keep your fingers crossed. Hey, like, we kind of hope we get that, almost like get that bye, and we're sitting at 10 wins, and we don't have to go to Atlanta and get beat up. We don't have to put ourselves at risk. Another game, right? Potential injury, whatever, just to have an extra trophy that at the end of the day, I guess, what does it really mean? But I don't know, guys. It's tough for me to say that, because, I grew up with the SEC championship meaning everything. That means everything to win it all in Atlanta. So, yeah, I mean, listen, if you're in this hypothetical in a 3-way tie, and, you have to decide whether you want to go or don't, I would say go. But I guess thankfully we don't have to decide it that way. It gets decided on the field of play with tiebreakers if we have to get that far or what have you.
We were at the first SEC championship ever, and it was in Legion Field of all places. And in 2007, I think it still mattered. But as soon as they went to this new playoff format, and then you add on top of it NIL, it's just one more game for players to haggle about. I'm not playing in that. You paid me for this many games. I'm not playing. It's just one more opportunity for kids to sit out. It's another opportunity for injury. And I was a college coach. If we used to intentionally tank conference tournament games if we knew that we already had a at-large bid at the Nationals, because we didn't want to risk injury, and we wanted healthy players in the games that mattered. And so, I think if you ask a lot of college coaches, they would say, I'd rather we scrap that game. I don't want that injury. I want to play in the game that matters. And, the playoffs have become what matters. And I just don't see the SEC or the Big Ten or the Big 12 championships being meaningful anymore.
Yeah, I see Evan doing the money sign. Definitely the money is probably a reason but I don't doubt that they don't get rid of him at some point. And I will say, because Rustin, you're not wrong. All the points you make are valid. And if they do get rid of it, so be it. It's kind of out of our control, but it will be a sad day, in my opinion, when they do. It will. It'll be kind of a sad day, because a lot is changing with college football, and some of it we're fans of, some of it, a lot of it we're not.
Well, if
that will be like a sign, like your childhood is dying.
Oh, for sure.
It was like when your favorite show went off the air, or, if your favorite, whatever, business or something went out of business. That'll just be kind of like a part of our college football fandom childhood or life dying a little bit. So
if they expand beyond 16 teams, I don't see how they can keep the championship games at that point.
That's a valid point. Very valid.
I'm not saying I'm in favor of it. I'm just saying from a completely practical perspective, I just think it's lost its value. And I think if most coaches were polled and they were being honest, they would all say they don't want to play it anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Chris, we so appreciate you joining us. This has been a treat for us. I'm sure it's been a treat for everybody listening as well. I do have one surprise for you. We do this for every person who's ever come on our show. You actually met an honorary bro, which is what our guests are, honorary bros. Jordan Moore, you were at his tailgate yesterday for a minute, and he posted a photo on X of you and him at the tailgate. He's one of our honorary bros. Jason Swain, honorary bro. Cole Kubelik, honorary bro. We've been very fortunate with a lot of the people we've had on our show. Reed Carringer. Well, guess what, buddy? You are now, listen, we know you've accomplished a whole lot. We get one of the most popular SEC podcasts. We get that. But let's be honest, you've reached the pinnacle now. You are an honorary bro.
Let's go.
And we're going to send you that shirt right there. We will
go.
send you that. We send that to every guest. So we are very appreciative having you on here. Also at that site right there, you can get a battered Vol syndrome survivor shirt if you want one of those. You can also get this hat right here, the Tony Vitello goat hat.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's pretty sweet, puff embroidery. It's pretty sweet. Richardson 112 in dark mode or smoky gray. But that shirt is on its way to you, man. We so appreciate you joining us, and we appreciate your time.
Guys, I'm honored. Listen, I am honored as an honorary bro. I do appreciate that. And yeah, I met Jordan. I met so many great Vols, but Jordan was awesome. I mean, the people, like I said, of Knoxville are incredible, man. It's always a pleasure. And like I said, it was a pleasure jumping on with you guys. I really appreciate the opportunity. I can't wait for the shirt. Going to rock the heck out of it. I can't say thank you enough.
That's what I'm talking about.